You already know. You already know. Shouts out to Big Frida. What up, Search Fam? What up, Search Fam? Sade here. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Sade, and I'm out here curating and co-creating a cool ass life. And it's time for my September reading wrap up. Now, whether this is your first time coming across me on this corner of the internet, or you keep coming back and you haven't subscribed, might I suggest that you do that? Join my internet family, become my e-cousin or whatever. And let me tell you about my books and my travels and living in the life and times of a dumpster fire. You know, just hang out. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, be made aware of every time I post a new video, which is usually on the weekend. So this, again, I don't know. I feel like this month, I felt like I read a lot, but I did a lot of audiobooks this month. A lot of audiobooks. And y'all know this year has been a bit of a struggle for me in terms of my physical book reading. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That is a horse of a different color.
He's the horse of a different color.
I read, I think, 18 books in September. And I have my stack of physical trophies right here. And I was reading up to the wire, baby, because I was trying to get at least a couple more done because I'm ready to move on to some other things. But I was pretty pleased with the fact that I got done some books that I had been intending to read, and it had been taking me a minute to get through them. So I was actually really pleased to actually get a couple done that were on my list. Okay, so I am going to start with my physical books as per usual, and then we'll move on to digital and audiobooks. And if you see me looking over, handy dandy iPad is right here with the story graph and all of my things. Okie dokie. So first of all, I finally finished The Library of the Dead. And this one I read both in print and as an audiobook. Like I read over half of it in my physical copy. And then because I had been taking so long to get finished with it and I was having a hard time picking it back up, I did the rest as the audiobook, which was great because the narrator was really good and Scottish, black. She sounded black Scottish. So that was really good. Now, this book is Dark Academia. It is about a girl. She's like 19. Her name is Ropa. She is Zimbabwean. Well, the author is Zimbabwean Scottish, but I think she might be. She's definitely African Scottish. And it's set in Edinburgh, where she is pretty much a medium. She talks to spirits and delivers messages for them. That's how she makes her money. That's her little hustle. And she's poor and supporting her grandmother who's taking care of them and her younger sister. And so, and of course, you know, the government's corrupt. The police shake her down for her earnings if they catch her outside after a certain hour. Like, it's a lot. But she ends up being visited by this ghost who's like, can you find my kid? And she's like, I don't go around finding people cheering, girl. That's not my job. But come to find out, like, the kids are disappearing. And it's real weird. But they are being farmed is how I would describe it. And so she's going around trying to find who's taking the children and for why. And I'm not going to tell y'all, but the plot twist on this one, I wasn't expecting that. I really was. I was like, dang. Okay, well done, Tia Huchu. Because that's the first one. This is a 3-book series. I'm not sure if I'll pick up the next book. I would say, for me, this was a good book. I would say pick it up, but this is not a must read for me. But I did really enjoy it. And depending on my vibes, if I'm in the vibe for it, I might pick up the second book, and I'd probably do it as an audiobook. I'm doing a second reading of one of my favorite reverse harems, and that is The Bonds That Tie by Bree. Now, I'm also starting to collect the physical copies of this book because I very much like this series. Like, I still think about this series a lot. So I said, you know what? The time has come for me to reread it. And I have the first 3 books, but I read the first 2 books, which is Broken Bonds and Savage Bonds. And this is about a magical society where people have varying gifts, and there is a magical university. They're on the West Coast, I believe, like in Oregon or something, and it's called Draven University. And so people get matched. They came up with this sort of intricate matching system to figure out who people's bonds are. And so you have what is called a central bond, which could be male or female, and then you have the surrounding people who are also in this bond. Now, our main character, Ollie, is an orphan, and she's been on the run. She's been on the run since she was like 14 or 15 years old, and she's like 19 now. And her whole family gets killed. They get in an accident, and her mother's 3 bonds, because her mother was the central bond. They all get killed except for Ollie. Come to find out, it's Ollie's gift that saved her and might have killed everybody else, because she has a very dark gift. I won't spoil it for you though. But she is matched, because she's in the matching system. She's matched to 5 people, and they're all very strong, very prominent people in the society. Like, one is one of the council members, and the fact that she's been running from them it's not a good look. So they track her down, and they put a tracker in her, and like, she's really not feeling it. She's trying to run away, not just because, and it's not because she doesn't want them, but she's trying to protect them. And so it's very enemies / bully to lovers. And over the course of the entire series, each of the bonds, like, shows how they come to be in relationship with Ollie. Now, Ollie is baby. Like, cause she's sweet, and she actually has the best of intentions, and they treat her so bad. These first 2 books, I was cussing everybody out. Again, like, I read it before, and again, I was like, I hate everyone. But the spice is spicy. Check your trigger warnings. Okay. But also, there are shadow puppies, and I love a good companion pet, okay? I also did Vampires El Norte by Isabel Cañas, and this was a good one. And I'm not, y'all heard me say this before, I'm not really one for period books, but this one was good, and I got it on a recommendation. I forgot where from, but because it's a romance, but it's like a vampire dark romance, and also filled with like pining and longing, which is right up my alley. I love some pining and some longing, child. That's all me. And it was just so beautifully written. The prose was gorgeous. Isabel Cañas also wrote The Hacienda, so I might go back and read that one, because I enjoyed the writing so much. It was so well done. There are just sometimes books you read that are just a good time. The writing may not be that great, but you have fun with it. But this one I enjoyed, and the writing was really good. And then lastly, I did No One's Gonna Take Her... No, child, I always say this the wrong way. No One's Gonna Take Her Soul Away by Amanda B. Weaver. And y'all have seen me pull this one up for a year now. Talk about I'm gonna read it. And I finally got through with it, and I really enjoyed it. It is a Dante's Inferno retelling that is also queer, bisexual, to be fair. And I would say, although it has spice in it, like, it's not a central part of the plot, right? And even the sort of major players in the story, you don't get a lot of, like, you get sexual tension, but not a whole lot of sex in and of itself. And I'm fine with that, because it was very plot forward, and the plot was very good. It was very well done. And I also liked how she situated, instead of like circles or levels, like there were islands in Pandemonia, which is hell. But now it's got me wanting to reread Dante's Inferno, because I haven't read it in a long time, and I only remember it in sort of a broad scope, so I might do that. I also read as an audiobook The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which it was funny. It was funny, and I read it because I had seen the trailer for the movie on Netflix. But then I was like, oh, it's based on a book. I was like, oh, then I'm gonna read the book, of course, because the movies are never as good as the book, but it's a series. Anyway, I read the first book, and the first book was funny. It was good. It's about these geriatrics who are living in this home. I guess it's like not assisted living facility type thing, or independent living facility, and they solve murders. Like, they get the case notes and things like that, and the four of them talk about it and try to figure it out. But there's an active murder, and there's a couple of murders that are tied to the home, in the area around the home. And it was actually good. I found I was slow to get into it. Like, it moved a bit slowly for me personally, but I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed the various parts of it. Would I suggest reading it? Maybe. If you're into that, I did enjoy it, but I probably wouldn't pick it up again, and I'm probably not going to continue the series. So I probably would not recommend it to anyone. Although I am thinking about recommending it to my mama, actually, because she's trying to write a book about like older people in a home and all this stuff. So I think like it would be cute for her. As an audiobook, I also did Limitless Mind by Boaler, and I found it helpful. It was a sort of quick read. I read it on my walks, about how you unlock your potential of your mind through things like reframing difficulty and pushing yourself, and, you know, not seeing things in a very fixed way. If you're into that kind of thing, which I am, I would recommend it because it was a quick read and I thought it was super helpful. But it frames a lot of things through education, especially like K through 12 education and mathematics, because I also think Boaler is like an education person specifically within mathematics, because there was a lot of talk around how maths and sciences and people being told that they are not good at certain things, so they don't try. But if you push yourself and like learn in these different ways, it'll open up your capacity for doing more of the things that you would like to do. So again, if that is something of interest to you, if you like self-help books that are tied to sort of neuroscience and things like that, then yeah, I think you would enjoy it. I did enjoy it for what it was, but like, I think after the first half of the book, I was good to go. I think I'd gotten all that I needed out of it, but I did finish it. I also did Doves and Demons by Clio Evans, which is a duology, and it's steampunk related monster romance. This woman who's in graduate school gets taken. This is around the time of Jack the Ripper, and she ends up getting taken by these three monsters that are at odds with Jack the Ripper, called the Freaks. And one is like a fairy, one is a vampire of sorts, and one is like a mad scientist that takes people's body parts and cobbles them together into his own body. I did it as an audiobook. I hated the audiobook reader so much because I could hear her breathe. And the way my neurodivergence is set up, that's what I hyperfixated on. So I could not really enjoy the book. And so I might have to go back and reread it, because I won't say that I didn't like the book. It was very, like, if you read Clio Evans, most of the time Mama's is smut forward. And so like the plot was okay, but this too took me a long time to read, and it was like 16 hours. And I was just like slogging through it. It was almost a DNF simply because of the reader, the female reader specifically. Like, being able to hear the inhales drove me mad. I also did Her Rabid Beast by E.P. Bali, which is the second book, technically the third book in the Her Vicious Beast series. One, they done broke my girl Leah. That's how it starts. They broke her, and now she's in one of her animal forms, and she won't come out, and she is in the recesses of herself. But her friends are so lovely because they stay with her. And her one Munson, I think that's what it's called, her little companion bird thing. We love him. Henry's the real MVP. And so now we're getting a little bit more of her mates and them understanding. We find out who the fourth mate is, and Chow. I thought so. That's all I'm gonna say. But that dragon, I hate him. I need somebody to like beat him down to the white meat, because he's awful. Like, you're not even listening. You are so caught up in your sort of classist nature and thinking you're better than everybody because you old and you a dragon, that you're not actually like taking in what she has said or what her story is as it's continuing to unfold, and you're there in real time. I hate him real bad. Ugh. So, but it's good. Obviously, I'm tuned in. Like, I pick it up. Like, it's a great series. E.P. Bali's books, because I also read the Archer Midwife, not the Archer Midwife, the Warrior Midwife series. So I'll talk about that one now. And it's 3 books, and I read all of 3 of them in 3 days. And so I'm loving E.P. Bali. The writing is really good. The stories are compelling. The characters are great. The banter is fantastic. The smut be smutting. Like, it's a great time. I'm going to own the catalog, obviously. But the Warrior Midwife is fairies and magic. And it's about this girl who is, I forgot her name because it's been a few weeks now. But she is the heir to the throne of her kingdom. And she's getting married off to a fairy, to the Sealy, to one of the Sealy kingdoms, to one of the Unsealy kingdoms, to satisfy a pact that was made by the fathers. And child, it's a mess. It's a mess because you got this entity called the Green Reaper or something who's actually orchestrating all of these things. There's a lot of war, a lot of chaos, enemies to lovers, right? And fated mates, all the things. I enjoyed it so much. And this too had a companion pet called a Lumsen. And I want one of them. I want one of them real bad because it was so cute and so smart, right? Definitely read that one. Read the book, read all 3 of them, read the trigger warnings. I'm going to read the next trilogy, which is her sister, called The Archer Queen. And I'm excited about that one as well. But yes, the unlocking of powers, the goddesses and things like that. So part of it seems to be somewhat steeped in like Indian lore, sort of fantastical and liberties taken. But that's what it read to me. But I had such a great time. I'm having a great time with E.P. Bali. Like, she's top of my list this year. And I'm excited that I discovered her on Vibes, you know. I also did All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby as an audiobook. Oh, that was good. That was so good. Like, it kind of reminded me how my mom feels about Walter Mosley and his writing, but this is about a small town in South Carolina. It's a typical Southern town, small town that has very racist past, and they get their first Black sheriff. So it's told from his point of view, but there's a serial murderer, and it starts with a school shooting. And this very mentally disturbed young man ends up killing this beloved teacher. And the police kill him, and he's a Black boy that kills this white teacher. And so there's a lot going on around that, and like policing and, you know, police killing young Black men and all of the things. But come to find out, there's a murderer that's been afoot, because they start to disentangle why this young man killed this beloved teacher. Come to find out, the teacher was into some freaky shit. And children have been, like, there were a lot of murders, and they find them under this willow tree, like way back off somebody's property. And so now they're disentangling what they call the wolf is, because there's this third person who's still alive that probably is masterminding the whole thing. Ooh, child. It was good. So I'm probably going to read Razorblade Tears this month, because it gave me the dark thriller that I needed. And I was in, although I had to stop it a few times because I was getting pissed. But S.A. Cosby, man, he might end up on my top 10 for the year. It was so good. I also did Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. And this is a sapphic romance about Delilah Green, who's a photographer. She leaves her small hometown because she's never felt part of it. and she was always the weird girl, so she goes to New York and becomes a photographer, and she's a bartender, and everybody thinks she's kind of a fuck up or whatever. And she comes back for her sister's wedding to photograph it, and ends up falling for one of her sister's best friends, who's bisexuale. And I think Delilah is lesbiana. And so it's a cute little sapphic romance. The mother is dealing with the wedding too, because she's in it. She's one of the bridesmaids, but she has 11-year-old. She's trying to co-parent with her baby daddy, and they sometimes fall into bed together, and that's never good. And like, she's having a hard time navigating the fact that her child's father is usually kind of a screw up too, and he's trying to do better, maybe, but we don't know. And the preteen is a preteen. That's all I'm gonna say about that, because if you've ever been around 11-year-olds, you know what I'm talking about, okay? But it was good. It was cool. I would suggest it. It was a good time. I enjoyed the banter of it all. It was a good story. I got through it quickly. I would not emphatically recommend it, so it wouldn't be like 5 stars or anything. If I used star ratings, for me, it'd probably be like 3.75, 4. So it was good, but not to where I'm gushing about it. I also did a Botanist Guide to Parties and Poisons by Khavari, and I did this as an audiobook, and it was good. This was another period one, and this one is academia. The main character, whose name I have forgotten because I read this at the beginning of the month, so do forgive me. She is a graduate student in botany and one of the only women. And she goes to this party with her advisor, and somebody gets poisoned at the party, child. One of the wives of one of the other faculty members. And so they think it's her advisor. And this is in the midst of them preparing for an excursion down to the Amazon or something like that. So it's partially romance too, because she is enlisting the help of another scientist. I want to say he's like a biologist or something. And they, are real cute, and he's all trying to keep her from getting into shenanigans, but she gonna get into some shenanigans because she's trying to prove that it wasn't her advisor or her mentor that did these murders, to the point where she poisons herself to prove it. And there's a lot of shenanigans, but I thought it was very good, and it was against the backdrop of like the First World War, I believe, like post First World War. Like, her dad has died, and her dad was very well respected faculty member in botany and things like that. And the plot twist there, ooh, child. And then there's also sexual harassment, because she's getting harassed by one of the other faculty members who's like the head of the department, and a whole lot of things. I enjoyed it. a lot. So I would suggest it, emphatically suggest it, maybe not. Am I going to continue the series? I don't know. So, but I would say, if the premise is of interest to you, then yes, definitely read it, right? If you're into mystery and poisoning, and you're a little bit nerdy like me and like things like to do with plants and poison and things like that, for sure, pick it up. And it's just a little quirky and all of this. But if not, then you're probably not going to like the book. I did Fractured Delusions by T.S. Snow, which is the second book of the Arcane Mage series, which I have been waiting to read because it's not finished. And I don't know when we're going to get a next book. But it's so good. I enjoyed it so much. We have a third and fourth, because this is also reverse harem, a third and fourth love interest. And child, that fourth one, he's unhinged. Because he stalks her. And we end the first book with them sleeping together because he was at the bar and she was trying to get laid. And now he's like, oh, BT dubs, you're my mate. And the female main character is like, what the hell? And they're still trying to find her uncle. And she's trying to figure out who's after her, because they tried to break in her house and kill her. And now she's stuck with this guy, and she's living at his house. And she, for a while, was gone from work. Everybody looking for her, including the two The other two in her will be her little group who she works with, because she ain't contact them because she can't, because she left the phone in the apartment when she gets attacked. And then there's the tech guy who works for her father's family, so her half brother and them, and he's so sweet and so cute. Oh, that's baby. But I just want to know how they're going to pull this together, and whether it's going to be more than 3 books, because if it is, I am going to be in distress. But I liked T.S. Snow's writing. So the Arcane Agent series is the second series. The Arcane Mage series was the first series. I ate the Arcane Mage series up, and that was 6 books, and I read it quite quickly. So I am in suspension while I wait to hopefully see if T.S. Snow gives us another book. What's going on, girl? Let us know. I did Sweet Serenity by Lilia S. Flowers, which was a Glucose Guardians novella. It was okay. I enjoyed it because it was like slow and gentle, and though it wasn't very long, it invited you to read it more slowly. It's about this med student who becomes an online personality talking about mental health and her medical school experience, and she stands up for this author who, on his last public appearance, he like falls out, and people were like, oh, he was drunk at his thing, da, da, da. But he wasn't. He like was having a panic attack situation and fainted. And so they end up corresponding. He sends her like 10 racks, 10,000 bucks. And then they start dating, and they're like really good for each other because they're inviting one another to be soft and to be vulnerable and try to like move past their issues, because she calls him the Count because he's always like in the dark and stays in the house, and he's a bit of a hermit. And so he's slowly starting to let the light in, like literally. And they start experimenting with BDSM, where she's like topping him most of the time, and like it was very sweet. It was very sweet. I thought it was very cute, very well done, but very slow. So I probably would not recommend it to anyone, but I do think that the male main character he was lovely. Yeah, very sweet. I think I got them all, friends. I think I got them all. Let me look. Yeah. That's it, friends. That is all of the books from the month of September. Again, it was not a bad reading month. What'd you read? What are you getting ready to read? Please tell me things in the comment section. And as always, friends, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.